Yo, it's the Batman Cave Podcast, and I am your host, Bat, aka Scott Johnson, and this here is my man cave, so come on in. On this show, we talk about stuff that interests most guys, like video games, guns and shooting, movies and TV shows, product reviews, and so much more. You are absolutely safe in this man cave because here we could absolutely care less about Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez's love affair and what their couple nickname should be. Right, guys?
Right.
I'm
slightly interested. I mean,
okay, well,
in
just
Lopez?
Keep that to yourself. Yeah, in Lopez. We've created a new series called Binge-Worthy. With my friends here, Jason High and Ron Neese, we're going to be taking a look at streamable TV shows that you can binge and whether or not we feel they are truly worthy. So let's get started. Gentlemen, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Man.
Thanks for having
It's
us.
good to have you
Good to be
guys
here.
here once again for another episode. Tonight's episode, we've selected two shows that are Netflix exclusive. Both of them are from the Marvel comic book universe. It's probably a good thing that we have an actual member of that Marvel universe here tonight with us to help us through, Ron, aka the Juggernaut himself. So we're really glad you're here tonight, Juggernaut. So to kind of set us straight on some things. But the
Sure.
but the two shows we have chosen are the shows Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Now, it's pretty much a complete understatement to say that the comic book genre is slightly hot right now. I mean, come on both the big screen and the small screen. As of to date, it's just gone crazy. So I just did some investigating on the small screen and on TV. Right now, there are currently 8 DC live action shows. There's Arrow and Gotham, The Flash, iZombie, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Lucifer, and Preacher. And then there are 13-ish shows that are either on order or in development. Marvel has 6 live action shows that are currently running: Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Legion, Iron Fist being the 6th one, and they have 11-ish either on order or also in development. And this is not even covering the shows that are currently running that are from different comic book publishers, like, for instance, The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, Riverdale, which my daughter has been watching, which is interesting. I mean, this is how hot this genre is. I mean, they're making Archie-based TV shows. I mean, how crazy is that?
Riverdale's awesome.
No thanks.
Riverdale's awesome.
Yeah, she loves it. I mean, I'm not really interested in it, but okay. But I am interested that they are remaking The Tick, and The Tick is coming out. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So
You mentioned iZombie. That's a DC.
Yeah.
I did not know that. My wife loves that show.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So, we've got a hot genre here, and not even, I mean, obviously we don't even have to, really go over what's been happening on the big screen. I mean, that's pretty much, just crazy. For those of us who are fans of superhero comic book stuff, it's crazy great. For those people who may not be so much, it may be crazy not good. I know, Mr. Lowman, you have actually said, to me several times that, it's kind of like overkill at this point, where now it seems like every blockbuster that comes out in the summer is a comic book movie, which you've got a point there.
Yeah, it seems a little overkill sometimes.
Yeah, I can understand. And now with all these TV shows, it's kind of crazy too. So I thought it might be interesting and fun to, if you guys had any kind of like old comic book shows from the olden days that you grew up on watching, that you that would have been like some of your favorites. You guys have favorites that you watched? TV shows, live action superhero TV shows?
Spider-Man. Yep. The old days with Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I like those TV shows. Those were good.
Yeah, I did too. They only had like a couple of seasons, but I was like I love Spider-Man being on the electric company. Do you remember that? I mean, we're really dating ourselves here. I mean, come on. But
Yeah,
you remember
Electric
that?
Company.
Spider-Man,
Yeah,
like he
that's
never
a-
said
that's a
anything. He
great
just had
show.
like the thought bubble come up, the cartoon thought bubble come up. But I just was intrigued with Spider-Man being on that show, and then they actually made that live action, the Amazing Spider-Man thing, which was around the same time as the Incredible Hulk, which obviously is another like great show. I loved the Incredible Hulk.
I'm still stunned that you watched Electric Company. Sorry.
Hey man, I had to get my education somewhere. Okay, jeez. Spent most of my time in front of the TV. I mean, hello. Yeah, Ron, what about you? Any TV shows that were like superhero wise that stood out in your growing up days?
I just remember. I know the Hulk wasn't out. I don't. When was the Hulk?
The
With Lou
70s.
Ferrigno. Was that
Lou Ferrigno,
70s?
forgot about that.
Yeah. Lou Ferrigno. I don't remember obviously watching it on TV, but I remember seeing a lot of reruns and stuff like that with Lou Ferrigno and just the over the top stuff. I remember there was one episode where he was in a bank vault and he like ripped off the door of the bank vault and he threw it across the room. But I mean, it just looked like a big piece of cardboard flying.
He probably was.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
Oh, no, Lou Ferrigno, he could have tossed a big heavy door.
He easily could have.
He was a big man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Bill
that's
Bill
really
Bixby.
the only Bill Bixby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really the only live action stuff that I remember is just some old Hulk episodes.
Yeah.
But,
I was Shazam. They actually made a Shazam TV show called Shazam, and it only ran like maybe 2 seasons. But I just loved that this kid would yell Shazam and become the superhero. I was like, and I loved it. I still love Shazam, Captain Marvel today. But of course, I mean, come on, Wonder Woman, Linda Carter.
Yeah, she was.
I
that
mean,
was great.
hello. What kid didn't want to like just sit and watch TV and watch her run all over the place? I mean, seriously, I still want to watch her run over the place. She is, yeah,
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 no doubt.
I don't get it.
yeah. Don't worry, man. The mothership hasn't landed yet. Don't worry. All right, well, let's get on this thing here. So, kind of where we are is that Ron has gone through both shows completely, correct, Ron? You're current with both shows?
Yes. That's
Okay,
correct.
so Iron Fist has 1 season. You're done with that. Luke Cage has 2 seasons. You're done with those.
Luke Cage has one season.
Has one season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I've gone through all Luke Cage. I just finished the 5th episode today of Iron Fist, and Jason has gone through a handful of both of those. So he's going to be the real first impressions opinion tonight with kind of talking about this show. So we'll first start with Iron Fist, and who would like to go first? Because I really don't know who should go first with this one.
Oh boy, well,
Ron, you want Ron to go first?
Yeah, maybe.
Let's let Ron go
yeah,
first.
Might be best
Let's
because
let
I've
Ron
not
go first.
seen as much, obviously.
Okay, Ron.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my initial first impressions of Iron Fist, I'd have to say, were pretty high because I was after just watching Luke Cage a few months later or so. I was, then watching Daredevil, then watching Luke Cage, and I was excited to see how the Iron Fist story kind of tied into everything. So my initial impressions of Iron Fist was I thought it was good. I liked it. I didn't think the the fighting choreography throughout Iron Fist I felt as good as it could have been. I just didn't. I didn't think it was better than some of the fighting in Daredevil.
Right.
And, Iron Fist being more martial arts oriented, and based around Bruce Lee and everything like that. I expected the fighting choreography to be a little sharper. As far as let's see,
I think I like the choreography of the fighting better when I watch my kids with their friends on the playground. Honestly.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's stop. Let's
Not
stop
so-
there for
not
just
so
a second.
impressed.
Let's pause on that for a second because I think this is something we can all kind of like agree on. um, is this kind of idea that first of all, you don't get to see a lot of fighting. I mean, it takes a while to actually see some like fighting scenes. I mean, some like real fighting scenes. It takes like a couple of episodes before you actually see, some real fighting stuff. And I would have to agree that I think the choreography is a little loose. It's not nearly as tight as it could be. And I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fight stuff in Daredevil is like really good.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you watch it and you're like, dang, wow, these guys must have trained for like a couple of years, to do that, because the fighting is really, really good. And maybe it's because maybe I had to set the bar up pretty high. I don't know, but I would agree that.
Well, and I know this is not a comic book movie or show, but we talked about End of the Badlands, and so I've watched a season and more of End of the Badlands, so I go from that to this, and not even close to me.
Yeah, I keep waiting in the fight scenes for something like really cool to happen. You know what I mean? Like for him to pull off like a really cool move, and it never happens.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, what Jason said. I was actually going to say the same thing. That first episode of Into the Badlands, where he first comes across that gang by the fireplace, or by the fire. The fire.
Mm-hmm.
That fight scene there is incredible. I mean, it starts off with just like, just a bang, and that fight scene alone was better than anything, in my opinion, that Iron Fist had to offer the whole season. So I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, we've talked about that too. How how Into the Badlands. I mean, that's like the first thing that you come into the show not knowing what's going to happen, what's going on, and Sonny comes across the caravan that's been wrecked or whatever, and then he goes. I mean, like 2 minutes later, he comes in these 15 guys and kills all 15 guys. And like I said,
forget about Iron Fist. We're just going to talk about
I know,
guys.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things, like, right, with Into the Badlands. I mean, Sonny, the way he finishes people, he's got these incredible moves, and you're like, oh, those kind of moments. And yeah, Iron Fist doesn't have like any of those at all. So I have to agree. So so there's the fighting thing. Yeah. Go ahead. What would be your next thought?
Well, I actually liked Finn Jones as Danny Rand. I know a lot of people, there was a lot of controversy at the the start of it. They were like, why is this was the wrong cast for the wrong type of person to play Iron Fist, and and actually I didn't mind Finn Jones. There towards the end, or towards the beginning, I thought his character was a little whiny, and I couldn't really relate to, anything. But as the season went on, I was like, as his character kind of started to evolve a little, I really liked Finn Jones. So as far as the
it wouldn't have anything to do with when has that beard and the curly hair.
Yeah,
there might be a similarity with a certain Juggernaut.
That's
right.
I was gonna say that, and the martial arts ability. I could definitely relate to. I was like, I'm going through the same thing. This superpower that I have inside of me, and I have curly hair and years,
so he's Iron Fist this week. Last week he was Dom from Gears, or whoever.
Yeah. Iron Fist, concrete thumbs. Fist. Yeah, dude, I see it. I see it there. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, but I love I think the rest of the cast was great. Tom Philip, I can't say his last name, but as Ward, his character, I love this character there towards the, towards the end. He started to come around. His character got a little deeper, and my first impressions of Iron Fist were, I liked it.
Okay.
I was, it's just that little puzzle piece to the bigger picture of the
Right.
what they're all tying together for the Defenders. So I thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Low Man, why don't you pick up from there, and then since we've already talked about the fight scenes, we can pretty much take that out of the equation.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't disagree more. I mean, at this point, obviously Ron's further in it than I am, so maybe it does, get better. So that's possible. But I couldn't get past the acting on most everybody in the show. It just wasn't working for me. And it's funny because I have just such a different opinion on Luke Cage, so which we'll get to. But the people in it are just they're not grabbing me, and not believable. I don't like the character, the main character, and like he does maybe get better, but I can almost picture him maybe doing, trying to be funny in the show, like what's his name that did from the Avengers.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I almost think if he was, humorous like Robert Downey Jr. in the episodes, it would maybe kind of match him better than this serious tone that he tries to portray, and it's just not working for me.
Yeah.
So, at this point, I don't even know if I can continue the show.
Man, look out.
Wow.
Look out. Well, I think, I think something that Ron, something you just said a little bit ago, I think because it kind of like went as like a light bulb that went off for me is that, I have seen all 4 of the shows so far on Netflix's Marvel series. I've seen Jessica Jones. I've seen Daredevil, obviously Luke Cage, and now obviously Iron Fist. And I would say out of all 4 of those, to me, this is like third place. And I think his character is maybe not nearly as interesting as the others are. Maybe more interesting than Jessica Jones. I don't have a high opinion of Jessica Jones, but I think
she's no Linda Carter.
She's no Linda Carter. I mean, no way. Yeah. It might help if she donned a Wonder Woman suit, but maybe just a little. Anyway, I think for me, it's not necessarily the acting that I don't think is like the greatest. I just don't think the characters are very interesting. We talk about the main guy. What'd you say his name is? The actor?
Ward. Are you talking about Ward? Oh, Finn Jones?
Yeah, I think, and he plays obviously Danny, the Iron Fist.
Yes.
Not to completely give away everything there, but I think pretty much everybody hopefully understand that that's who he is and what he plays. I think it's really funny because the premise, and we're gonna give a little bit of this away. It doesn't really like give anything major, but the premise is that he has been gone for 15 years. He disappeared when he was like 10 because of an airplane crash with his parents, and now he's back, and that's how episode 1 starts, is that he comes back to town in New York. His father started a company with one of his best friends, and his best friend's kids now are running the company, and he just shows up and walks in and expects everybody to like, embrace him. I mean, he really thinks that. And he looks like a homeless man. He's got no shoes, and he's got a beard and scraggly hair and scruffy clothes. And at first that like really like bothered me, because I'm like, nobody does that. Nobody's going to halfway expect everybody to go like, hey, we thought you were dead. Oh, I guess you're not. Yeah, come on in here. Now you're the president of the company. I think, but as I've watched these, I think, his character is supposed to be like really immature, like, and especially socially immature, because he's been gone. And I think that's why he probably comes off as like, tries to be funny, but not, tries to be serious, but not good at that either. His emotions, I was telling Jason earlier, I thought it was kind of funny that, he keeps telling people, hey, I'm not dangerous. there's nothing to fear. I'm not dangerous. But yet he's got like a really short fuse, you know?
Yeah, it does.
And it's like, I think it's just his immaturity of his character. He's just trying, he's socially immature. He's not been around people. And so so after a couple episodes I gave that, I was like, okay, I still am not a big fan of his character. I'll be just quite honest with you, because I keep thinking, Iron Fist, man, all right, get in there and kick butt. And he does, eventually, but the first 3 episodes are just so stinking slow. You're just like, what is this? Is this a superhero movie show, or where's the superhero? And
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like the cast. I just think for me, I'm not a really big fan of the characters. I just think they're kind of boring. They're just not very interesting.
In the world of Marvel, the characters that are out there that we've seen, X-Men, we've seen X-Men movies,
right.
The Avengers and everything like that. In the world of Marvel, Iron Fist, even in the comics, like you said, Iron Fist is a character that I really have never followed, and I think everyone is kind of the same. Like, you never see people walking around wearing Iron Fist shirts, or, hyped out about the new Iron Fist movie that's coming out or something.
Right.
He just doesn't carry a lot of weight in the Marvel world.
Yeah.
So
he's not even a secondary character. He's more like a third level character, almost supporting cast almost.
Yeah. He's the guy that you call if Spider-Man's like brother's busy or like his neighbor's busy,
right.
They're like, he's.
No, let's be serious. They don't follow Marvel anyways? Don't they just follow DC characters? Right, Ron?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I would think of like for instance, okay, Ant-Man the movie. I'm thinking to myself, when I first heard that they were going to do that, I thought, how are they going to make this interesting? Because Hank Pym is not an interesting character. He is a nerd. He's geeky. And so he made this suit so that he can become really small and ride ants. I'm thinking the concept is completely nerdy and dorky. How are they going to do it? But when they actually let, what's his face?
He's funny.
Well,
Paul Rudd.
They let Paul Rudd actually produce and write. So therefore you absolutely go, I get it. And the character that he portrays is the guy that's the second Ant-Man, and it works. It worked perfectly. And I feel like this is kind of like what that should have been. You know what I mean? That the Iron Fist is kind of like they should have done something to get you into the story quicker. Because to me, that's why I told Jason, it's like, hey, this is one slow show. It's like, him showing up, getting kicked out. Oh, I'll go sit in the park for a little bit and talk to a homeless guy. And, oh, yeah. Oh, you got a phone that I can use to look up people? Oh, how convenient. Okay. I think I'll go to this dojo now and just kind of like wander around, and I'll go. It's like really, really slow. And
well, I think shows can still pull off being slow. I just don't think.
Well, if you don't have interesting characters, you can't. Yeah. And you got to get people into the story a little quicker. But I will say this: I have watched 5 episodes, and I do agree with Ron that it does get a little more interesting, a little more. And especially, well, it could get worse if he just kept walking around the park for 6 episodes, and that would be bad. But this definitely gets interesting if you have followed Daredevil, because they share a commonality. Yeah, exactly. And for Jason, who doesn't, and it may not get that much better for him. But I will say this, and I mean, see if you guys agree with this. I think Marvel, as far as their actual production value of these TV shows, I think it's really high. They do a good job with production value. The music and everything looks really cool. The intros are always really cool. I think This is my least favorite intro, though. The 3D little kung fu guy looks a little, I don't know. It just doesn't look like they really put a lot of money into it. The concept's okay, but I don't think the follow through is great. It's a little long. But I will say this: it's definitely production quality is good. It looks like they spent a lot of money shooting this thing, and it looks good, and so that's kind of what I think about it. But I'm going to continue to watch it. I'm going to continue to watch it just all the way through the season, just to see where it goes. I feel like I've invested that much already. It's like, well, I might as well go ahead and do this. But I think it's because of where it's headed. I'm interested in seeing where it's headed, just mainly because I've watched Daredevil. So here's the question for Iron Fist. Is it binge worthy, Ron?
Man, that's tough. I would say yeah. I would say yeah. If you started it up because you enjoyed Daredevil and you enjoyed Luke Cage and you even thought Jessica Jones wasn't bad, I think when you start up Iron Fist, you're probably gonna sit down and try to binge watch it. So I did the same. So I would say yeah. I'd say it's binge worthy.
Okay, Low Man, I'm already gonna guess what you're gonna say.
Yeah, not a chance. Sorry, I'm out.
Try Scrabble instead. Yeah.
You guys can tell me how it ends.
Yeah, we'll do. I will say binge-worthy. I'm going to say that it is binge-worthy for people who are interested in the Marvel Universe. The thing is, though, footnote, though, is I'm going to say the people who are already interested in the Marvel Universe are already watching this thing. So for people that are not necessarily into it, I would agree with Ron. If you've watched Luke Cage, if you've watched Daredevil, if you've halfway watched Jessica Jones, which is a little hard to watch, definitely give it a shot. And just know, as we've said here, it is slow. It's not going to get halfway interesting, not even halfway interesting until at least episode 3 or 4. So, but second question along that, this is something I thought would be an interesting review as well. Part of the review is this good for a date? So we're talking about dudes watching comic book shows, and dudes are more apt to obviously give this thing a whirl and stick with it. The question is this good for a date? Is this good for a girlfriend or a wife? Ron, what do you think?
No, I'd say no.
No.
I mean, Iron Fist, like I said, his character is not like, it's not all that all that deep or all that, impressive or anything like that. It's not, it's not Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, so I don't know. I just don't think, I know Whitney wouldn't sit down and watch it.
It's Ron after he woke up in the morning.
Oh man! Wow.
Well, then maybe she might give it a sympathy watch. So I would say yeah.
Well, yeah, she would be saying, "Well, I see it anyway. I might as well." Yeah. Jason, I'm going to guess you're sticking to no to your answer for good for date. I'm just going to say I'll agree. There's 3 no's for date worthy. If you try to submit your girlfriend or your wife to this, you might as well get used to sleeping in the house of dogs, because not a smooth move at all. All right, let's move on to Luke Cage. Let's move on to there. I think we're going to have a little bit better review for Luke Cage. Ron, why don't you go ahead and go first again?
Sure, yeah. Luke Cage was incredible. I watched the first episode on my lunch break at work, and as soon as I came home, I've actually watched it twice. I knocked it out, over that weekend, and then I watched it again.
The whole season in one weekend?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that first episode on Friday, came home, and watched it on my phone, snuck in episodes whenever I had time. And then I watched it again in 4K, which was awesome. But no, yeah, my first initial impressions of Luke Cage was incredible. But and again, that's just kind of goes. I mean, like Luke Cage, he's not, he's kind of the same as Iron Fist in the same aspect as, character wise. He's not Wolverine. He's not a Spider-Man. He's not an Iron Man. But for me, I felt like they did the choreography, the fighting choreography so well. They told Luke Cage's story in a manner that was the storyline just gripped you right away, and kind of really just kept you watching because just the whole his universe that he was in, or his story was so compelling that it was hard not to root for him. It was hard not to enjoy the series. So I loved Luke Cage right from the start.
Yeah, I agree with that little phrase. Root for him is a big phrase, in my opinion, in this series. It's definitely a root for him kind of thing. Low Man, what about you? First thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm early on both of these shows, but this one, total different than Iron Fist. Loved it right out of the gate. Liked the tone. Love the dialogue, the actors, music, the setting.
Yeah,
I'm very impressed. It almost reminds me of putting Unbreakable, with Bruce Willis. It kind of has that tone, a little bit of this slow tone to it a little bit, though, a much more serious feeling to it, but stick Unbreakable, Bruce Willis, and Boys in the Hood, with this cast around him that you don't know what they're going to do next. And love the scenes in the barbershop and the dialogue in there between Pops and the other characters. I think it's great so far.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. I watched the show. I binged it just like Ron did. I think I got through the whole first season in maybe 3 or 4 days, the same, and kind of like a good book. Really couldn't put it down. I agree with you, Low Man. Just, you get into it, and, Luke Cage is kind of just an ordinary regular old guy. Now, kind of.
He's the friggin' stud, though. I mean, after watching the first episode, I'm like, I want to work out.
Oh, yeah. It makes me feel bad about myself.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he is a beast. There's no doubt about it. I was introduced to him, obviously, through Jessica Jones. And I liked his character in Jessica Jones. He was about the only thing I liked about Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And I knew immediately I was hoping they were going to do it right, because I thought he's going to be great, and I already liked him. I can't agree more. The whole cast of characters in the barbershop, the villain of the show, just everything. First of all, Cottonmouth. He's been in he was actually in that. What was that? The movie just recently about. I got all kinds of. I'll have to look it up here in a minute. Anyway.
I've heard a lot of people talk about him though, and that they really like him as an actor. He's those listening, he's the kind of the bad guy in this show, and he's pretty good.
He does a good job.
Moonlight.
That's what I was thinking of. He was in Moonlight. He was also in House. He's in House of Cards. Hopefully still, which. That's another review we'll do for a later day. Love him in House of Cards. He's a very versatile guy, I think. And when I watched this, when I first watching Luke Cage and to see him on there, I was like, can he be the kind of the thug gangster guy? I'm like, oh yeah, he does a great job with it. The story is really good, and it's very interesting, and it takes place in Harlem, and it's just feels kind of grassroots to me. I don't know. But definitely fight scenes are, once again, talking about that wow factor in a fight scene, right? I mean, you get that in Luke Cage. I mean, no doubt about it. you think to yourself, oh crap, he's going to walk in here and kick everybody's butt. And he does, so couldn't agree more. I think definitely a fantastic first season, and looking forward to second season as well. But I also like the fact that, he doesn't wear a costume, doesn't have a mask, doesn't have an alter ego, really. You know what I mean?
The hoodie sweatshirt.
The hoodie. The hoodie sweatshirt
I don't know and again, unbreakable.
Yeah. Right.
But is that really is that part of his costume? Because I think I remember seeing pictures of him before, his character in this, hooded, sweatshirt or something. Yeah.
His yellow shirt is kind of his standard, and they joke around about it there towards the end. They talk about him wearing a costume, and something like that. And I think that yellow shirt or something that he has is brought up. But yeah, that's kind of his default costume in the Marvel universe, is that his yellow shirt and everything like that. But just just plain clothes.
Yeah, don't get attached to the hoodie.
Yeah, don't get attached to it. Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
Don't get attached to it, because yeah.
Yeah, he usually does just wear a solid colored T-shirt, or whatever.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That
It's always
ends
just
up-
jeans.
It ends up with bullet holes
shirt.
in
Yeah.
it. Can't keep a shirt.
He
or
kind
a
of looks
jacket.
like me in a T-shirt, honestly. The way it fits my biceps, like his.
Well, if you wouldn't buy those extra small T-shirts, dude.
Yeah, fine size 6.
Still wearing the same T-shirt you wore in middle school. Good, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. All right, so Ron, Binge-Worthy. I mean, do I even have to ask this question?
Yeah. Highly binge-worthy, and I think we all could agree with that. I mean, and even America could agree with that, because if you recall, when that came out, I think it debuted on a Friday, I believe, and that weekend, Netflix's servers were actually down. Now, Netflix never releases any numbers or anything like that for their streaming issues or anything, but they tweeted out that weekend, they said that we're aware of the streaming issues and we're working quickly to resolve them. And then the rest of the Luke Cage cast all tweeted out, different little jokes about them crashing the server and everything like that, because it was all over the place. Everybody was watching Luke Cage that weekend, so it's definitely binge-worthy. Definitely binge-worthy.
Yeah, I believe it too.
Thumbs up for me too.
Okay,
Binge-worthy.
we're all three.
Totally agree
all
with
three
that.
binge-worthy. Okay, good for a date, Ron.
I'd say yeah. There's enough story in there to keep your loved one interested. It's not all just punching and fighting and blowing up and cussing and everything like that. There's a real genuine story behind Luke Cage that I think a lot of people can feel for him and really get invested in the characters. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Jason, you agree?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, like I said, the guy's a stud, anyways.
Yeah.
I think any woman's gonna be like, yeah, I'm fine with watching this.
Yeah, it's like me watching Linda Carter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Run, Luke, run. Yeah.
And I just think it's done very well. Quality movie or show. The acting is just great. I love the dialogue in it, and I think anybody's gonna like this show.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly. Even if it's just worth trying one episode with your date, with your girlfriend, wife, whatever, I would be surprised if they wouldn't, like you said, enjoy it and want to watch more. So far, Luke Cage is the stud. He's the real Iron Fist, and Iron Fist is more like plastic kneecaps. So, but just, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, the aluminum pinky. Watch out. He will wrap you up. Yeah. Well, awesome. next time we're going to talk about another video game podcast on the next episode. But for today, this is the end of this one. We're glad that you all stepped aside from what you got going on to join us in the man cave here. We appreciate you stopping by. We'd love you if you would subscribe to the podcast. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time and for hanging out. We'll catch you next time later on.